Well, hello there. Welcome to the stream. I should have cleared my throat before I pushed the button, huh? Alright. Hello, everybody. Hello there. So this might not be the longest stream because there's other stuff I have to do tonight before heading to bed. But I wanted to get more done on this because after last week's few days working on the tree ant, which, by the way, if you go to Infinity PBR, click on See All Assets, you can see the tree ant character right here at the very top. Currently 50% off during the new release discount. So last week I spent a few days working on the character, getting it set up, getting the video setups, getting the asset published, got that done, and I love this shop personally. Didn't get to work on the game. And that's always frustrating because I want to work in the game and I just want more time in my life. That's what I really want. What I really, really want. I'll tell you what I want. What I really, really want. So, let's see. Where was this? There we go. That's the right size. So, let's see where we were because I'm pretty sure these goblins are not participating properly when it comes to taking damage. So I did successfully, I think, refactor the game starting state thing. So now we've got these yellow thing, enter preloading, and other things. Although clearly some of them are happening too soon. In fact, yeah. So I guess I'm going to have to figure that out because really a lot of that's not supposed to happen until the loading phase. But there's still more to do there, I guess. And then, nope, not that. And then entering the game on. This is the game on. So now the game is on. And so, yes, we are still using that debug from June 10th. It's crazy. This feels like a very long time ago that I wrote this. And it was only 17 days ago. I guess that could be a very long time. Alright, so now we've got all these bad guys out here. And I can shoot them. But they do things like have null reference exceptions. And that's an issue. They did take damage. So, Goblin Fighter. But see, this is the thing. Player in position 0. Why does that say that? It's because they have a player on them and they're in position 0 for them, I suppose, because they're not in a position. They don't have a position. This is only for main players, but that's fine. Okay. Max resistant is -5. Damage increased. In other words, the resistance didn't happen. Take hit points went from take damage. Hit points went from -28 to -32. That they were at -28 already. Well, oh. Well, it looks like this keeps happening. That's probably why. Let's go back. Let's find the very first instance of a null reference exception. Okay, so it seems like we hit the target right here for the first time. And then as we get closer, what do we do? We got new min max 545. We get the first damage. So damage went from 50 to this. That's great. And then we had this null reference exception. So hit points of goblin were 50 and now that's perfect. And then this happened. What is this? Audio source. Oh, the grunt audio. So I think that means we should do a couple things. One, I should account for this and handle this properly. So we could say if that equals null. This really shouldn't happen, but obviously it does. It just did. So instead of triggering null reference, we will say simply return. But before that, we can say debug.log. Oops. And what is it? It's going to be player actor this dot name is missing the audio source. All right. And that should just tell us, hey, you gotta assign the audio source. Why is it missing the audio source? I don't know, but let's press play again and inspect one of our things. Oh, I should zoom in on this. Apologize for that. Zoom in a little bit so we can all see it in fairness and equity. All right, so this is the one I hit before. Let's look at this. Goblin fighter female clone. I wish there was an option to not put the word clone in there when it instantiates, because that throws me for a loop sometimes. You know what I mean? All right, so it's a private field, so we can go up here and click debug to see our private fields. Maybe. Bueller. All right. Do we see our private fields? I don't see our private fields. All right, well, let's see. We are missing audio source on the player actor. This is on player. It's underneath stats, prefab manager, and JSON strings hide later. JSON strings hide later. I don't even see those. Am I missing something? What am I missing here? I don't see even those JSON strings. What are those names? Saved. Do we see? Oh yeah, I guess we got them right here. Oh, audio source. There it is. Yep, indeed, audio source isn't there. Is it, however, on this one? This is one of our original ones, and it is not. So we clearly need to account for that as well. There is an audio source that should be attached to each one of these players, or actors rather. So what we can do is update this and say public audio source, should I guess spell it right, source audio source is going to be this and that. Perfect. Get audio source, return value. But instead of just getting it, we have to check to see if it exists, and if it doesn't, we need to set it or return it. So we're going to return audio source, but we are first going to say if audio source equals null, then we're going to say audio or audio source dot equals get component audio source this dot get component, no, game object dot get component. There we go. No, this dot game object. No? Well, why not? We are in player. I guess player is not a mono behavior, so that could be why. So I suppose audio source is really meant to be. Do we need it here? Is this in the right spot? It's only used by player actor. It's not used by the player. And what do I say? Ooh. Oh, interesting. What did I say here? This was just not long ago. Removed these fixed with protected add to player class thanks to Merrick. Oh, Merrick. So you helped me out, but now I'm getting into some trouble here. I think what I really need to do is move audio source outside of this. Oh, hey, Jack. How are you? He said, can I enlarge the code? Did you ask that before or after I enlarged the code earlier? I can make it bigger, but it might be too big then for me. So this was working before, I suppose. And if that's the case, where did we do set audio source? Actor. Because that's what I'm missing now, right? Yeah, I don't have a set audio source on any of these. So apparently I removed it. And I want it back. So I could move. I could move these to player instead. The problem is, I think player doesn't need an audio source, where player actor does. Player has its own audio source separately from that. That's the human player, the portraits. Ha. Good minds think alike, Jack. So what I'm thinking here is I don't necessarily need this here, and I do need it here. And I need, sorry, Merrick, but I need that there and not here, because I am not going to need it there. I just need it here. And then set audio source can happen from actor, and it can happen on awake. Awake setup. And so we'll say actor target dot set audio source to get component. I guess I should actually do it like this. I should probably say actor target dot try get component out audio source audio source. So we're going to say if not that, if not that, then we will return otherwise we will say set audio source to be that. And this is not working. Actor target dot player. So we already have, so not actor target. What am I even? Just this. Player dot set audio source. There we go. So that should do the trick for actor, because actor has a player actor. Hello, Moga Creative. How are you? The player class is the class that has all this fancy dandy stuff about the player, but the player actor class is for our actors in the world, and they are slightly different. They have things like grunts, and they have things like audio sources where the grunts will be played through, and things like dodging. It triggers an animation rather than, well, it might trigger an animation on the others too, but they might be handled differently because of the portraits and all that. All right, let's see if that fixes our null reference and therefore fixes our apparent loop that we were in, where hit points were just being removed forever and ever and ever and ever. All right. Oh, I didn't even hit them. Oh, I was way off that time. Oh. Huh. This is supposed to do something else. It's supposed to defend. That's weird that it's not. Because it's supposed to. When I hit them and I don't have the... If distance is melee, did hit. if distance, range, distance, if we hit them with range, distance, and return true. We have a spell on deck. We do nothing. Yes, so the NPCs will be player actors as well. Yes. Is there a difference between an enemy and an NPC in your mind? I realize now that I actually don't know. I've always assumed that there's like enemies and then there's NPCs, and NPCs aren't necessarily enemies, but enemies are NPCs. I guess enemies could be other players too. But yeah. If distance is greater than melee, then we do nothing. Why do we... So we return false. And if then we return false here. And this is all check player actions. Interesting. So where do we do the defense? There we go. Glad you agree with me, or I agree with you. I guess this is. I'm not sure. I guess in my head I'm thinking like, oh, this character, this player, the third one that's selected, can't shoot them. They can't attack them. They can't cast a spell on them. So they do nothing. So if I click on it, they defend. But if I hit space, then they defend. And then I can do that. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. There we go. All right. Did hit. We got the grunt. You all heard the grunt? Did you hear the grunt? Monsters. Some of the NPCs are monsters too. Did you hear the grunt? Is my computer audio going through the stream? Or did you just hear it as my microphone picked it up? I heard a grunt, but I didn't see any action. Yeah. Well, all right. Something, but they didn't do any action. Let's see. Let's confirm that the actions are listed. So somewhere there should be something. Somewhere there should be. Wait a minute. It's the wrong player. All right. Somewhere there should be some settings about animations. Okay, well, let's look at our got hit and see where the take damage. Let's see, somewhere around here. Take damage. There's got to be check for death. And if we hit points are great, okay, then we do death. Do death, we do that. All right, give experience, debug.log, update, give experience, just to remind myself. So check for death should actually be a bool, because and I think it should be a bool. Where is it? Inherits from something. Whoa, this is a long ass class. I have oh, this is the virtual one. So it's going to be a bool, and player actor check for death. We don't need, okay, we don't for right there. Return true. Wait, return false. Otherwise, we do death and return true. And so here we're going to say if check for death, then return. Otherwise, we're going to do something else. So I think this is where we're going to put, you know, the actual trigger animation. Wait, why isn't this being called do got hit reaction? Well, let's find out. Color, we'll make it pink. RGB. I always do that. Should trigger got hit animation. / color. Alright, so I just want to make sure that it is actually coming out. And rather than going through the code, I just want to press play and see if it happens. Yeah, I think my OBS is showing that the computer audio goes through, but I don't trust it. I need to figure that out at some point. All right. Let's get closer. All right. Do we see anything blue? I see nothing blue. So that's good to know. It's not being called. Why is it not being called? It's supposed to get called with player actor got hit, and player got hit by object. Oh, maybe I did this. Attack. Target player got hit. Got hit by object. Point effect is hit points. Distance is that. No owner. Whoops. No owner. Player 135. Player position. Take damage. Take damage. Okay. Where did this come from? Let's go backwards. 472. Take damage and condition point effect. So I suppose... Well, how come got hit by object doesn't come into play anymore? Game condition. 288. Do the point actions. Okay. Player 430. Transfer the point actions. I didn't put a date on my note here. Do instant actions. 255 is gain condition. Got hit reaction equals false. Oh. Here we go. Here we go. Aha. Got hit reaction. Maybe I was saying that some things will give a got hit reaction, some things won't, and that turn off debug mode. If my arrow, but my arrow says true, that it does have a got hit reaction. Oh, on the condition. On the condition. And the condition. Oh, yeah, this is the condition. It's exactly the condition. Damage arrow. Hello, the bull. JavaScript. Handling condition. Let's see that. Handling condition. Damage arrow. Alright, so damage arrow. So this should have got hit reaction equals true. So let's see why got hit reaction. Okay. Let's add this up here for bow and arrow. Is bow and arrow. Yeah, that's true. And then got hit reaction. Bow and arrow true. All right, well let's hello Dustin, you magic monster. Dustin's the only one who remembers I'm supposed to open these with saying hello magic monsters, but I forget to every single time. It's only been like 3 times, but I've forgotten to every single one of those. I'll remember eventually, maybe, probably, sometime, maybe. All right, so we have got hit reaction true. So somewhere along the line, it is perhaps, perhaps not doing it. Okay, if bow and arrow is true, is there any returns here? No returns. If we do that, then that's true. So I suppose we just need to... well, okay, got hit reaction is true, but what do we do with that? That's actually the more important thing. Let's assume this is true. Nothing. Oh, that's not true. Down here. If got hit reaction, do got hit reaction. Okay. Hit points were and is now blah. Okay. Should we do a got hit reaction and got hit reaction? All right, and then let me just quickly see this. So this is triggering, technically triggering that. The grunt audio is being triggered, but not through here. So that's being triggered elsewhere. I'm wondering if I've got like 2 different paths of code going on here or something. I do not like web development. I've had to do it a few times and I do not enjoy it. Apparently I'm tired. I thought I slept well last night, but good chance I was wrong. Got reaction true. Hit points. Should we do a got hit reaction true? All right. I still don't know where the grunt's being played. All right. So it says that we should do got hit reaction right here. So this should be happening. And then, yeah, it's not happening because it's not happening right after. That's interesting. Did I spell this wrong? All right, come on. Come on. And attacker is attacker. Okay. Dot name. Okay. Okay. Let's try again. Hey, no problem. Motivation. Yeah, I understand that. There are certain things I hate doing for my side gig, Infinity PBR, and one of those things is finding new artists to work with. And I currently need new artists to work with. I have a desire to get a bunch of stuff done all at once, and so I'm looking for new artists to work with, and man, it's a pain in the bum. It's just so hard to find quality people. I'm not getting rid of any of my people. I like them, but I want another one to like, you know? There we go. Okay. Just took a while to hit. Do the got hit reaction. All right. Got hit reaction attacker. This should be happening, yet it is not. And it's not because of freaking this. All right. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. All right. This is going to be... I wonder if I was testing this earlier and then I forgot. Player. And... that's right. It was being overridden. So, my bad. My bad. See? So I am tired. This is actually evidence of me being tired. Is slow-minded. All right, trigger animation got hit. So we do the grunt audio here. That's working. This one doesn't appear to be working. No animator. No animator. All right, same deal. So in this case, player should have an animator. And okay, and we're going to go back here and make this animator, 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 and then on player we're going to make sure that we call set animator. So on the actor we're going to do that on awake setup. So we're going to change this to be if we get it, then do that, and we'll do the same for the animator. Set animator, and this is going to be animator, not animation, animator, 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 and animator. Okay. So that works for the actor. I think we're going to need to do the same thing for the human players, but I'm not sure. So this should fix it. VR, my VR thing. I don't have a VR thing. What do you mean VR thing? This weekend with my friends, we almost went to a VR place, but then I was looking up as we were driving there. I was looking it up, and it was just single player VR. Like they have 10 different bays, and you go into a bay and you do VR for $50 an hour, which is really a lot of money. And there were at least two. There were 2 kids and the 3 of us, so it'd be like $250 for an hour of single player VR, which makes no sense because they have the Oculus Quest at home, and half the games that you could play at this place were games you can just buy for $10 on Steam and stuff. So I convinced us to turn around because that was dumb. And then we were going to go to some axe throwing place. The kids were too young for that just as well. I wasn't keen on it, and the reality is, you saw it. Okay, it worked that time. The reality is the axe throwing place was also equally expensive, and it was just a place where you can get food or beer from a food truck, and then inside throw axes for like $25 an hour per person, which is also expensive because who wants to throw an axe for an hour, first of all? And second of all, who really wants to throw an axe? I don't really care about throwing an axe. It seems very gimmicky, and I was thinking, I wonder how many of these places are basically like just gimmicky. Like they figure, okay, well, let me just spend, $10,000, $20,000 and open a shop, and then we're going to get people to come in, pay huge amounts of money off of something that's kind of gimmicky, VR or axe throwing, and then by the time it stops raining cash, we've made our money, because $50 an hour, they 10 bays, they can make up to $500 an hour off of that. They're probably making more like $200 an hour, $100 to $200 an hour, and maybe $100 an hour. But even $100 an hour, $1,000 a day, is $365,000 a year minimum, and there's probably more than that. And it doesn't cost that much to produce that setup. So, yeah. Yeah, like escape rooms. At least escape rooms can be fun. But yes, pop up anything. Anyways, all right, so smack. That's working. All right, so that solves that problem. Now, we have the hit points going down. And that's good. So I think I'm going to do a couple things. One, I'm going to clean up a bunch of these debugs. Two, I'm going to make this one. Oh, look at this. This is old. So if you ever see me doing the pluses, that means it's old. So log.log player position number position is name took color equals red. Oops, 0 damage slash color damage. All right. I just want to make the color of damage red. And then I wanted to clean up my stuff here. So I don't want to clean up that one. This one I will keep. This one I will clean up. However, we do want the is dead. We do want that. We do want that. We do want that. We do want that. What don't we want? I believe I don't want any of those. Make that bigger too for folks to see. No cheating. Okay, I did that. I'll keep max resistance for now because I want to make sure that's working extremely properly later. Okay, so I will just delete these. Just cleaning stuff up a little bit. All right, that's fine for now. Now I want to make sure that they die, that they transition to death appropriately and with glee. So I guess one of the things I want to make sure is, did they die here? So check for death will happen here, and if so, they'll do the death beforehand, which is also includes triggering the death animation. So I suppose what we can say is right here we do that, but then we don't do the got hit if we're dead. So if hit points is less than or equal to 0 or is greater than 0, then yeah, okay. Yeah, so if hit points are less than 0, then we don't do the got hit reaction. It's probably fun for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes throwing axes. I think archery could be fun because darts are fun for a short while. So I figure axe throwing is going to be like darts. I think archery is more fun, to me at least. I don't know why. It's also very similar. You shoot a thing or throw a thing at a target and hope to get in the middle, and then you get bragging rights, and then everyone forgets about it. But yeah, I don't know. I also think that the cost was just too high. It was just kind of a ridiculous cost for that kind of thing, especially the axe throwing. At least with the VR thing, they have to buy the computers or at least lease them or something. But with the axe throwing thing, it's like, get some axes, put some wood on the wall, paint it, get a food truck to come over, and boom, you're done. You don't have to worry about the licensing because the food truck has all that stuff. Paintball can be fun. But those tend to be longer term places, right? The paintball places tend to be long term setups, and I guess that's the thing. That's the difference between a long term and a short term setup. All right, so what happens when we die? We need to trigger the death animation. So we're going to do this, but on the death. So take damage, and take damage is check for death, and check for death here. And so what we need is to so yeah, that's why this was blank, because we're overriding do death on player actor. Yes, player actor. So if points is above 0, then we set it to 0 in case we're doing something else that causes it to die. But and then name is dead. Trigger animation death. Do it the right way. Change our thing to enemy dead, and then give experience. All right. Let's make sure that this is set, and do death, and it's called death and taxes. So let me find my go-to one, and where is this? Animation trigger strings on player actor. On player. Animation triggers. That's actor. That's why. See, I'm tired tonight. That's... Here we go. Death is death. Is death death? We're getting very philosophical here. It's not the intent. Is death death? It is death. Death is death. And death goes to death. Death indeed leads to death. Well, you can do death if somebody casts a spell or some other thing. Like, let's say a big something happens. I feel something happens, and I need the player to die, or the actor to die, the NPC to die. That's how you do death when hit points is above 0. How you do it? You reduce it to 0, and then you do the death. That's what happens. I figure most things, like if it was an environmental thing or something, would probably cause actual damage, and potentially it could cause 100% of damage. But there might be some other time when I want to do death differently. Oh boy. I just drank bubbly water and it felt good. So why isn't that working? Death is the right condition. And death is the right string here. So alright, so we'll say should set trigger for trigger name. Section I. Trigger key is I think the appropriate term. There we go. Let's see if that does any tricks. It's possible. It's possible. I don't know. I think if it was a magic spell, like an instant death spell, I would probably try to work a way to give 1% damage. But maybe not. I just figured I'd build that in just in case. Alright, so that's red. That's nice. Alright. I guess I never actually checked the death once I fixed the other issue, huh? How much health does he have left? 24 left. Alright, should be dead soon. Oh, there, it worked. Wow. There we go. Oh, gosh. He came back to life. That wasn't supposed to happen. Alright, well, let's see. Is he dead? According to the lair. Enemy dead. So we need to make sure that our hits aren't attacking an enemy dead. They should already be not doing that, but let's see. Somewhere I have a layer. I have an object. Layer masks. Player interactable includes layer dead. Particle collision includes layer dead. I guess we do want to collide with layer enemy dead things. Screen click layer, yeah. So I guess that's fine. That all those things are actually fine. It's actually the code that needs to account for that. Power word kill. Yeah, because we do want the player interactable to do all this. We want the arrows to go into the dead things too. What we don't want is for the player actor to be hit while dead. So really, it's going to be in actions. Well, in multiple places, but one is this: to do update attack. Try get actor target. So we're in actions. We're attacking a specific target. Where do we cut out? Try to attack enemy. Quick actions. Closest actor target in view. Alright, we're going to say true and or false, and we'll say bool include dead equals false. So we're going to set false by default, actually. By default, we will ignore dead ones. Okay, so then we'll get all actors. Then if not include dead, then all actor targets equals all actor targets dot where x dot layer game object dot layer is not equal layer mask dot name to layer enemy dead dot to array. Oops. Alright. So basically, if we're not including the dead, then we update this to add only where there's not enemy dead. All right, so that should solve the quick actions and interact key cast spell. It does not, however, solve all the issues because arrows can still hit. And so, where's our arrow thing? That is on the, forgetting the name of the script right now. So I know it's on the prefab. Where's the prefab? Prefab. Nope, that's goblins. Oh, I'm in the wrong section entirely. Prefabs. Projectiles. Arrow. Arrow collision. That's the name. Arrow collision. On trigger enter. If hit target. Alright, we got the actor, we got the player, handle hit on player. Okay, if actor hitbox.parent, handle hit on actor, so this is player, so handle hit on actor is what we're looking for. Magic spell will trigger effects. Okay, we'll have to come back to that. Play hit audio. But where do we actually get the damage being done? Oh, magic spell trigger effects. Okay. Got hit by object. So this is where we will update it, because if we are already dead, then, well, then something happens, but it's not getting hit again. I suppose it could be. We could keep going negative, more and more negative, but just not have any reaction. Gaining condition, does that even make sense for a dead thing? No. We're going to say this. We're going to say if this.game object, okay, in-game object dot layer equals layer mask name to layer dot name to layer enemy dead, then return. If we're dead, then we return. And this won't actually work. We need to do So I'm not sure if these other things even have an in-game object. I guess they have to. Hit by object. Okay. Let's see. It's causing problems? What kind of problems does it cause? Scriptural object editor? Aha, what do you want to do with the dead body, Jack? That's what people ask me all the time. Generally, I would say put it in the bottom of Lake Mead, but that doesn't seem to be a very good option anymore, does it? Oh man, we are taking our sweet time killing this guy. How come we didn't go to death? Well. Enemy's dead. Alright, well, I don't know why, but let's check our other things while we're here. Can we... Okay, well, we're still able to target it, which is an issue. We're no longer selecting it as our first choice. Who are we selecting as our first choice? Oh, this one. Okay, let's try to kill this one. If only we were a little bit closer. Oh, it won't compile. Alright. Thanks, Dustin. I'll have to check that out. Player 1 is clearly the most powerful one here. Okay, so this is good because it's attacking other things. Now, generally, if I hit space here, I should pick up the body. So, the answer to your question, Jack, is that when you click the body, you will collect the loot, and that is when it will do something. I haven't decided yet. It could be as simple as it just slowly sinks into the ground to disappear, but most likely in the end, I'll do something like some particle effect. Or like a shader effect. Hey, I just saw the water one today too. I knew the Lake Mead stuff before, but that's probably why it was on my mind, because during my walk earlier, just a few hours ago, that's the first thing I listened to. So, there you go. Like I say, great minds think alike and makes for a monotonous world. Yeah, so that's what's probably going to happen. But it's good that nothing is happening now, because I haven't really Well, I don't know what this means. Update this layer mask to layer mask and remove from game. I didn't put a date here, so who knows when I meant to do that. But, so I do need to adjust. Oh, it's easy to slowly sink in the ground. That part's super easy. It would look... Hey, he came back. Alright, well. The targeting, I think I can do that without looking at it again. I'll show the sinking to the ground later. What happens? Where's targeting? Targeting. Oop. Arrow system. Can shoot from range, get angle, shoot. Set hover enemy. Yes, so I suppose actions mouse over might be the more appropriate place. Let's see. Handle mouse over raycast enemy. Raycast hit enemy. Aha. Hit. So we want to only say this is true if it's an enemy and it's not enemy dead. So if that is an enemy and hit .game object .layer hit transform .game object transform.game object .layer does not equal layer mask .name to layer enemy dead. So I keep doing this layer mask .name to layer enemy dead, and I guess that's fine. I was thinking of making it into a property somewhere, but nah, or some other thing, but no. Aha! Lore and story. A little bit of both. So, I don't expect anyone to join the Patreon right now. So, just a heads up. This is not meant to be a hard sell. It's more of a just giving you an answer that's a more full answer. So I did create this Patreon. Nobody signed up, which is fine. You don't have to. This is, again, not a hard sell. But at some point, I think it will be very exciting for some people to sign up and be part of it. And the whole point, so it's a combination. The value will be a combination of asset store type content. So perhaps some exclusive assets and such, and Legend of the Stone stuff. So at the basic level, you'll get special Discord access and the alpha version of the game. So whenever I have a major version of the alpha of the game, I will release it to people so they can play it, provide their feedback, and so on. And for the $10 a month Magic Mushroom one, you'll get that, plus early access to any how-to videos that I create. I'll make sure to gatekeep those for a week or so or something, when it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I'll just do it, you know. Same thing with the pre-alpha or access and special Discord. And the special Discord will allow you to have input on the lore around Legend of the Stones. There is some lore, and there's definitely some stuff that even at this highest level I will not tell you about, because I want some stuff to be a surprise for people. So you don't get to know that. But that's where you get to discuss the lore and stuff. At the $25 a month, for those of you who are rich enough, you would get all that, plus input on the quests and the story. There is quest and story stuff as well. And then at this tier, it's just because if you can afford to support me with $100 a month, well, I will let you do that. I don't expect anyone to do that, but if someone does, I don't want to be the one to say no and stop them. How far be it from me to stop them from living their best life. So that's the long answer. The short answer is yes, there is some. The game is meant to start out with you and your party on a path, and you walk down the path for a very short amount of space, and then you fall into a cave. And falling into a cave just happens to be the cave where a person is that you're looking for. Everybody's looking for this person because they went missing. You just happen to be on this path and you fell into this cave, and then inside this cave is where you first discover things like bad guys and stuff. So the cave is a little bit of the training level where, you know, it leads you down a pathway and you get to fight a bad guy. You get your first NPC add-on when you find the person you're looking for. They join your party, and the next fight maybe a couple more fights, and then there's a pool of water, and the person has strong perception, so this person is able to see that, oh, the pool of water is something special about it, so they told you to go over there, and that heals you. So it teaches you that there's stuff in the world that you can, you know, interact with like that. And then you know, there's a boss before you get out of the cave. There's a boss, and the boss is more difficult, but the special character has special things like magic spells that are higher level. So you know, it teaches you to cast magic spells. It teaches you to use your weapons, and then it also gives you an indication of what to expect with yeah, too much groundwater and it causes a sinkhole. When Dustin, when you said slowly sinking to the ground would look awesome, I thought about California sinking to the ground. But yeah, so by also having this guy also have magic spell also gives you a hint of the cool magic spells that you'll see later in the game if you keep playing. And then you get out, and that's that. And maybe, just maybe, one of your actions during this initial quest, this initial level, maybe your actions might have a sizable influence later in the game on something when you come back to this cave and discover that there might have been more to the cave than first meets the eye, and perhaps this person you rescued from the cave was not there by accident. But maybe it depends on your actions in the cave. I haven't quite decided that yet. That could go two ways. One, there's going to be a character who's sort of like a guide character, a mysterious guide character throughout the game, and this person might be that. Or this is going to be a person that, to teach you the game, basically, if you take too long finding them, they're dead. And then you don't get other quests later, but you do get other quests. So if you do save him before he's dead, then something happens. If you don't, then something happens. But that choice in the end, or outcome, has an effect on the rest of the game. I'm probably going to go with the first one and keep that second theme for something else in the first area. Because I like the idea, and I think maybe it's a kid in a cave. So in Might and Magic 6, there's a kid lost in a cave, and I always think, wow, it took me 2 years of game time to come to this cave and rescue this kid. This kid was in here for 2 years with the spiders. And so that's silly. So I think there's going to be a rescue the kid quest that if it takes too long for you to get to the kid will die. The kid will be, unfortunately, perished. And you'll still get a reward. You brought the body back. You'll bring the body back and all that. But if the kid dies, then there will be, a follow-up quest that is different. than if the kid does not die. And so I want that kind of sort of, you don't necessarily realize it. Like a player playing it for the first time might not realize that they took a little bit of time, too long perhaps, and there are consequences for that in the game. But once you realize that, you might think, oh shoot, what other things did I do in the game that changed it? Oh, the kid becomes a Spider King. That would be interesting. So there you go. So that's the thing. There is lore, there is story. The idea will be that, you know, the monsters are appearing mysteriously. It's no one knows why. It just seems like they come. They haven't been around in much, but all of a sudden there's more of them. And that's the thing. I should make these have less hit points. Okay, 12 hit points left. I want to see why he didn't die before, or why he didn't do the action. Alright, so this next one should be it. Alright, so when he gets hit by an arrow, he doesn't do the death animation. Okay. So this is where it should not happen. And 266. This is where in player. And in player we have got hit by object. Okay, so we need to do the check for death here too. Okay, so what we will then say, got hit reaction, is true. But we will say, that's for debug, so I'm going to remove that. So we will say if stats points, hit points is less than or equal to 0, then got hit reaction equals false, because they're going to do the got death at reaction instead. That should be the case because they gain the condition, etc. Yeah, all right. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to be super strict, the time thing. Like the timer doesn't start until you get the quest. So, you know, if you don't talk to the parent of the kid and don't find out that the kid is missing, then the quest doesn't start until you do that. So, you know, there might be a case where if you don't, like, let's say something has to happen by a certain date, and if you don't do anything, then maybe something will happen. I don't know exactly how, but somehow you'll get notification of the quest in some other method. Hold on, got a text message. Let me check on this. Got to check my work calendar real quick for a guy who asked me a question that I would like to give an answer to. So segue, talk amongst yourself. And yes, I can do that. Moved to noon, maybe 5 minutes late. Yes, moved it maybe a minute late. Talk Wednesday. Wednesday. All right. Work stuff done. Yeah, so maybe, like, I know in Skyrim they do the thing where some messenger will come up to you and tell you a thing saying the king wants to talk to you. So, maybe something like that, but I don't know. We'll solve that later, but maybe there will be no quest like that. But time is only of the essence when you get the quest, for the most part. Maybe there's other things, but I do also like the idea that certain things can only be collected at certain times. So, like, if there's some herb that you need to collect, but it only opens up during a full moon, then you have to wait for the full moon, and you have to be there when the full moon happens during a certain time period, and if you're not there, then it closes, and you can't collect it. So there's going to be some stuff like that as well. Okay, I need to make these bad guys die faster. So in my actor settings, which gives them the basic starting stats, we are going to give them maximum of 10 to 15 hit points, so that they die faster. That's it. We just want them to die faster so we can test things faster. All right. Oh, perfect. And the second one went to the one in the back. All right, good. Now, we can't go over him there, but we can't go over anyone. We didn't have an arrow. Okay, can we do this one? No, good. So it looks like that's basically working. So what we need to do next is the experience part. I think it's in bright white. I'm going to delete that. Debug log. I'm keeping all these other target ones because I keep having to refer back to them for random things. So, but there is a lot of them when we're targeting. Okay, I think we're okay on this for now. We don't need that necessarily. There's also going to be quests that this is the RPG. Let's play test. Hey Hassan, how are you? This is the RPG. There's also going to be quests where you have a choice. So, like, you might be given. This is going to be mostly for the player advancement quest, like to advance from a knight to a whatever. There's going to be each class has 4 types, and you had a lonely weekend. I watched Bridget Jones's Diary for the first time ever, from midnight to 2 a.m. and I was tired the next morning. That was Saturday night. I watched Bridget Jones's Diary, and then Sunday morning I woke up for the stream with Jason for the game dev show, and I signed on early to talk to Jason about some stuff, and so I was extra tired. Whew. And then I drove home. Only a 2-hour drive, but I drove home, and now I'm tired. I don't know why. Okay, so we took the damage. Where is the experience? I guess I can do the search. I always forget to do the search. Give experience. So how are we going to do experience? I know. I'm glad you caught me live streaming live as well. Let's play test. Hassan, when Let's Play Test comes online, will it always be you, or will it sometimes be your brother? That's important to know so that I don't start interacting with your brother as if it's you. Not that I would treat him any differently than I treat you, but still, you know what I mean. You get it. You get it. So their advancement class. Adfin 13. Why? Thank you. I am honored for that. Thank you. There will be some quests. So the players, actually, let me bring it up because I have it. Find. Let's bring this over here. Find rpg.numbers. I have my old cheat sheet that I made many years ago. And so each one of these is going to have multiple things. So the knight will transform into a captain by doing a quest. And then the captain can become either a hero or a dark knight. Now, each one of these will have a good or an evil disposition. So barbarian will go berserker, and then berserker can become a defender or an executioner. And the idea here is that the two choices are what you become is based on your choice you make. Where that's fine, Matt Finn. I appreciate it nonetheless. So as a captain, you'll get a quest from somebody. I just pulling this out of my head. Actually, the paladin quest. Actually, let me take a step back because there are years ago I wrote some quests here. So there is some ideas written down somewhere. Look at that. Rescue the kid, rescue the boy, rescue the old man, help the knight win, blah, 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 blah. These are all just old. Okay, so here we go. Here's an example. Distressing damsel. Rescue the damsel in distress. She informs her she's been hiding out on purpose, and she's actually running away from the king's men. And if you let her go, so if you choose to let her go, you get the hero quest. You become a hero instead of a dark knight. And if you instead hear her story and decide you're going to return her to the king's men anyways, you asshole, then you become a dark knight. Now perhaps you don't get to become a hero right away. Perhaps you have to you do that, and then by giving up on that, later you meet someone who turns you into a hero. I don't know exactly what, but that's the idea. Is that your choice for all of these will be the other thing. So again, for the druid, the fair fairies, capture the fairy queen, defeat her in battle, and take her back to the other forest to achieve a druid lord druid quest, or capture her by defeating her and take her back to the trees to achieve the sorcerer druid quest. So again, now this isn't a choice about what to do with the fairy queen. Either way, you defeat the fairy queen, but what you do with the fairy queen after is what matters. And that's how you get to become the druid lord or the sorcerer, the good or the evil. Something like that. All right, so each monster, Jack's idea for experience is each monster has a base XP amount associated with it. You will have a modifier based on the difference of levels between the player and the monster. Oh, interesting. Are you giving XP even between members? No. No, I'm not. I am not giving XP evenly between members, or rather, I am splitting it among members. So if there are 4 members in your party and 40 XP, each will get 10. However, I don't think... It's an interesting idea. I had not planned on having additional experience based on the difference in levels, thinking that, well, higher up enemies will give you more experience anyways, so when you're earlier, that extra experience will get you closer to a new level. The level progression, I believe, is the 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 6,000, 12,000, 24,000, 48,000, etc. So as you progress, enemies get easier to beat. The bad guys get easier to beat. The bad guys get more experience, but you also require more experience. So in that case, you can come back to a place where there's easy enemies and clear them on out, and you're going to get, some experience, but it won't be as much as, or as impactful rather, as it was before. Yeah. When I did the Barbarian, I actually remember this quite well. I was in Hawaii. This was back in the day, and there was a couple 2 years in a row I went to Hawaii for a month at a time and worked on the Barbarian. I would love to move to Hawaii one day. I think I will one day, when I'm rich one day. And I would sit there for a month and go from place to place, but mostly sit at Starbucks and work on the game. And I remember I was super sunburned. I did a stupid thing and went out in the sun all day, and maybe not. I will not confirm nor deny whether there was a girl there. And either way, I did a stupid thing and did not put sunblock on, but did stay in the sun all day and did have some time in the water during that time, which of course is extra impactful for bouncing UV lights onto you. And so I was sufficiently sunburned, quite bad. And I remember I was sufficiently sunburned, and I was sitting in an Airbnb. This guy's house. He had a birthday party. He asked me if he could have his birthday party while I was staying there. I'm like, sure. So I got to go to his birthday party. This was the Big Island, but Maui is very nice too. This was near Hilo, actually, and where I got sunburned was in South Point, on the green sand beach, if anyone knows where that is. And in his birthday party, this is not part of the story about the experience, but this part of the story is cute because one of his friends came, and they had these baby pigs with them, and I guess they had gone hunting, and they shot the mother accidentally, not realizing that she had babies. So they took the babies, and they had a couple of them there, so I got to play with the baby pig. I love animals, so that was nice. Even though they shot the mother, that part wasn't nice, but I guess that's what you do in Hawaii. They do hunting there, like they do hunting other places, and at least the guy felt bad that they shot the mother. They did not realize it was a mother, but regardless, I was sitting there now in that guy's house the day after the party, and I remember I had my notebook with me, and I had I basically counted how many enemies were each level. I did the math of where I thought the player might go. The Barbarian was a little bit more simple, where the paths was, you could make your own path, but there was a big middle where there would be 2 or 3 choices of dungeons to go to, and they were all kind of the same difficulty. So it didn't really matter which one you got into. Yeah, see, I just read I'm into this, and so I said got into while I was talking. I was reading. And so it was a little easier to do the math on the levels. I just figured, hey, by the end of the game, I want the player to be at level 60 or something like that. So I said, okay, well, how many? I knew the level progression, and I knew how many bad guys there were, and I knew where I wanted the player to be at the end of every given thing, and so I just did the math. And I went backwards, and I said, okay, well, since there are X number of this, they will be worth this amount of experience each. And I don't think I ever changed it after that. It just worked. It worked out. And I don't remember ever going back and changing the experience values. I probably did here and there, but I don't remember doing it in any major way. And I think that just worked. So that story was to say, Jack, I like your idea and I want to play with it, but I'm going to start with the idea that there's a base level of experience. So for the goblins, I'm going to say 40. 40 is divisible by multiple things. So 40 will be the experience. And where shall I put this mythical experience thing? I shall put it... I could make it the stat of the bad guy. So every player can have a stat experience. That seems like an easy way to do it. I could do it as I could put it as a dictionary. Where are my bad guys? Where are they? Are they... Oh, interesting. So I could put it... Okay. Well, so I'm suddenly thinking like there is a character class and race thing, and I wonder if maybe all goblins should start with 20 experience as their experience, and then the classes would have another amount of experience. Like a goblin fighter might be 40, but the goblin knight might be 50 because the knight comes with 30. But I don't think I want to do that. That seems like it's going to get me in trouble later when I have a serpent knight, and the serpent is like, yeah, and I want the difference between a fighter and knight to be greater. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on these starting stats. So we're going to make it a stat. Put in our starting stats. We're going to say the stat is experience. Experience. And the experience is child stat. What's child stat? Oh, that's for like hit points, and child stat has to match. I should maybe rename that. Anyways, so experience is going to be 40. Max is 40, so 40. But to Jack's idea, does the player have experience value too? So when the player gets killed, the goblin levels up. Nope, the goblins don't level up. Although they do have the opportunity to have different levels. So a goblin could be at level 1 or 2, or 3. Or maybe not 3. I forget if I made this inclusive or not. It's another thing. I should put Tooltip or something here, I think. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, let me just do that. Nothing is more frustrating when you know something's very easily done and someone says, create a ticket for it. And you're like, you can do it in 5 minutes. And they're like, make a ticket for it. I'm like, it'll take you longer to read the ticket than to just make the change. And they're like, I need a ticket. I need a ticket. And you're like, fine, I'll make a ticket for you. If that's what you like doing. Let's see. So this is a child stat. So one thing I want to do is change child stat. I want to call this something else entirely. Matched child stat. So yes, we'll make that formerly serialized as matched child UID. Tooltip max. How do you do tooltips? I think it's like tooltip. Yes. Inclusive. Now let's make sure that's true. Where is it used? Ah, it is inclusive. I add 1 to it. All right. So it is inclusive. So I like the idea though that the players might have slightly more experience if the bad guy is a higher level to them, some amount more. Or do I like that idea? I do kind of like it, but I don't know if I like it. I'm thinking about it while I rub sweat off my brow. Gross, I know. Because so where I'm going in with my head is one thing. There's ways to get more experience out of bad guys, and that's through the learning skill, which is a skill that gives you more experience. And you can see that. I think I set it up properly already, but let's see it. We can see that in our skills, stats, experience, in our main settings here. Oh, we didn't set it up. Well, we need to set up this. I think players cannot train this stat. Did I just not set this up? Cannot be modified. correct. They can't train experience. They can't modify it. Points is the thing. No minimum, no maximum. Well, I guess minimum is 0. Modified by this proficiency. Let me look at my tooltip. I think this is what I want. When adding or subtracting points, the amount added can be modified by the final proficiency of this stat object called add points false to ignore this feature when adding points. So we're going to call learning. Yeah, so when you get points in experience, you're going to get more if you have learning and you're by your proficiency in that. So if you're 10% proficient in learning, then you will have more points. I think that's what's going on here. That is the point of this. I literally add this feature to this panel for this thing. So yeah, so I don't know, Jack. Maybe I'll add that later. I think it could be interesting to add that in a very hockey stick curve, to where the bonus is more likely to happen with the greater delta, and combine that with probably the a luck value, and based on the party who's alive after the end of the fight, and their averages, their average level, their average luck, etc. All right, so that's what I'm thinking. But we now have stats, or experience rather, for the player, for the enemy here. I'm going to make sure we save this override or apply this override there, and then on our script here, we're going to look for, where was it? What script was it that had the experience? Actor settings, nope. Player actor, give experience. And we should give experience, but we're going to give, this is going to be player actor, so stats dot get and properties.stats.stat.experience UID. So we're going to get the UID, get the experience dot points. So the points of the bad guy is the points we're going to give here. So I'm instead going to make this var points to give equals that. So should give points to give, and then we will say how many players are alive. So what an interesting thing that I need to also think about is NPCs that join your party. You're going to have the ability to have up to 3 NPCs join your party, and sometimes they'll be able to fight with you. How does D&D handle experience from monsters? And do they get experience? I don't think they should, but it's possible, because if they're fighting with you, then it makes sense that they would share the experience with you and might be able to even level up. So if you stick them around for a while, they might just keep leveling up, and you could technically keep them on as a mercenary. They are, of course, taking experience away from you. They are, of course, costing you money, because every time you get money, they take some of it. So perhaps they should share, so that there's a little added cost to having a mercenary on your team versus just an NPC who helps you in some other way. These mercenaries give you an added bonus of another attacker. So we're going to do that. So we need a property to just tell me how many players are alive, or how many, we can say fighters are alive, fighters being people who do fights. So I think what we need is that it is going to be in game. So let's load up game. Maybe I'll refactor it to a different class later, but I think it's perfectly fine in game. But game is just already long, and that's where I'm like, it's pretty long. Let's see. And I've already got things like active player and all that stuff here. Player count. All right, so we're going to say fighter count. Fighter count. Fighter count. I can't spell. Fighter count. And this is going to be the same thing, except that it's going to be players where they can fight, and that's where, I guess I need a new thing in player. Can fight, essentially. And so we will create that. Look at all these things. Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Do you ever think about that guy in the Matrix who says he like sees things in code and then he eats the steak, that guy? And do you ever think, what an idiot, sees things in code, you know? Yeah. So we're going to say can fight. And we're going to say equals true for now. To do, make this false for NPCs who join and can't fight. Everyone else can fight. It's not whether you're alive. Actually, it might be. But in this, for this context, we'll say actually is fighter. Yeah. And then public bool is fighter, and we'll just do that for now. All right, so game fighter count, player count x dot is fighter. All right, and then public int fighters alive or living fighter. Now fighters alive is going to be same thing, but where and where count equals and x dot is able, is able. So I think, let me just check is able. Yeah, so is able is supposed to mean like if you're able to do stuff. If you're in stone, then you're not able. If you're dead, you're not able. If you're eradicated, you're not able. So to answer your question that I'm just now reading, Jack, do dead players in the team get any XP? No, they do not. Which does give you, as a player, the opportunity to kill off three of your players in order to maximize the value, the XP value for one of your player over a certain dungeon, which is a fun strategy to play with sometimes if you want one character to be super buff earlier in the game. And you get them when the monster dies. Yeah. When the monster dies. So if hit points is -0, then we return false. We'll add other things here, but that's where is able comes into play. So if they are a fighter and they are able, then we do that, and then we're going to say public int players alive is going to be a game.data.players.count using link here x dot is able. There you go. So now alive, or there we go. So now we need to know fighters alive. That's where that's the key. The key. So we should give that experience to game.fighters alive. Ooh, we don't have game here? We don't have game? Why don't we have game? We got no game. Let's give ourselves some game using static Infinity PBR, the Legend of the Stone. It's like game. Now we got game. All right, so we're gonna say var points per player equals points to give divided by fighters alive. Game.fighters alive. Fighters alive. And then for each var player, and we can do that up here too in game. So we have game.data.players. I guess I guess all of this should live in data. Yeah. Because let's see, data. That's illogical, sir. Captain. I can't do a data from Star Trek voice. This is a much shorter place, but I sense this keeps calling, game.data.whatever. It should live here, and we should just say players count, because this is the most furthest down thing, the most furthest down. Game.data.fighters alive. There might be some more errors or other word, but because player count, I don't know where I was using that, but we'll fix those errors. And then we need to give a list of so we have a list of our players, but what we need is a list of our fighters. So public list player fighters is going to be players where x dot x dot is fighter dot to list. Yeah, so you get where I'm doing. Perhaps you can see where I'm going with this. We're going to also need players, and we're going to need players alive and fighters alive. This is going to be important for when we take damage from the bad guys. As to this is fighter count, so this is going to be let me just do that for now, and then call this fighters alive. Yeah, fighters alive count, alive count, and we'll just keep count at the end. I'm going to refactor this in a second too, for those of you who might be saying, hey, you can do it differently. So is fighter and is able, x dot is able, and same here, and then instead of doing this count, what we can do is fighters alive count will be that count. So fighters alive dot count and fighters dot count. And honestly, I should just remove these all entirely because they're pointless. I could just do it that way. So yep, that's what we'll do. All right, that was a good decision. So we're going to say var list of fighters equals game.data.fighters dot count. Oh my gosh, what the heck was all that? Dot count. Oh, I see. I am going cray. All right, so for each player in list of fighters, we're going to say player dot add points. No, add experience. Yeah, I'm gonna experience points because I want to check for leveling up. I'm gonna make it a method here, add experience points, and we're gonna give points per player. Do we round up or round down? I know at the end we round. The player, the final experience is a rounded number. Do we round down? Do we always say round down? So if it's 45 divided by 4, they all get 11. But maybe what if Hear me out. What if the player is lucky? They get 1 extra. I like that. Let's do that. Why not? So we will say yes. If player, we'll say var experience to give equals points to give, points per player. We'll call this total points. Spell it right. Spell total points. Okay, so experience to give is going to be points per player, but if player dot is lucky, we need to add that. I know I have a thing for is lucky already. Let me see, where do I have that in legend utilities? Lucky max if lucky. Yes, so this is what we need. Luck chance. What's luck chance? That's on player. Okay, so luck chance. Yes. Okay, so we will say if max if lucky, and so this is going to be legend utilities dot max if lucky. Value 1 is I think I want to add just a regular old is lucky thing here. So what we have here is this whole random from 1 luck chance thing. I think I'm going to just add a public static bool is lucky, and we're going to give pass in a float luck chance, and then return if random max if lucky luck chance random from 1 luck chance is less than. Okay, yeah, this is assuming that you have to, that luck chances goes up with stuff. So if random from 1 is less than luck chance, then you're lucky. So then here I can just say is lucky, passing in luck chance instead of that. So there we go. So we will do that there and there. Luck chance, do I have anywhere else that I can put it? No, just the 6. Okay, so now we have is lucky, so we can do if is lucky and then pass in luck chance. Whoa, too many of these. So if the player is lucky, look at all those, then we will say points per player equals mathf dot ceiling to int points per player. All right, so instead, here we go. Okay, we'll do it like this. Add experience if they're lucky, then I know I keep going back here, but I'm going to do this. Public bool is lucky, and this is going to be just give us that. So we don't even need this. So luck chance. All right. So now here I can just say if is lucky without all this other hubbubaloo. Come on, jeez. All right, so if is lucky, then points per player, then we're going to pass in the ceiling to int. Otherwise, we're going to pass in mathf.floor to int. of points per player. And there we go. So there we go. Much cleaner, much more easy to read because of these properties and fancy helper things. So, to your point, Jack, if is lucky, then we round up. Otherwise, we round down. And that's that. Now, player add experience points is a perfectly good method to add. And this is going to be a virtual void add experience points because debug.log, we might do something different for the player actor who doesn't get experience points, but if they're an NPC, then they might. So, to your earlier point, Jack, the bad guys don't get experience, but the NPCs sometimes do. Log gain name gained color equals RGB. We're going to call this experience to add and XP experience. Yay, but slash color. All right, so spit that out, and we're going to do something differently on the actor or the player actor. Public override void gain experience or add experience points. And we're going to do that, but player actor that. So it's going to be slightly different. And we're not going to handle that for now. For now, we're just going to handle this one, and then we're going to say what are we going to say? Okay, we're going to do player stats dot get game stat get properties dot stats dot stat dot experience UID dot add points, and it's going to be experience to add, and then we will check for level up, and we'll create that method. And it's also going to be virtual because some have to, the NPCs might have to level up. And then debug.log to do check for level up. That is something we'll handle in a bit. Let's just see if we can get experience. And just to make sure, start points equals dot points stats points. So start points and then end points. So went from start points to endpoints. All right, that's for debugging purposes to make sure that we're actually passing it through. Although I have, what? Why isn't the error showing up? All compiler errors must be fixed. Oh, because I have experience being there. There we go. I thought I might have some of these. So game.data.player, whoops, data.player count. All right. See if that solves that. It didn't. Wait a minute. That's because game.data.players.count is what we're doing now. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's go kill a goblin. Aha. Look at it. Everyone gained 10 experience. Went from 0 to 10. 0 to 10. 0 to 10. But I also have, I forgot, I have this fancy pants little thing I built the other day, right? Is it on game? No, it's on this. Where I've got my experience listed here. Level 1, 10 experience now. And so when I go and kill something else, it should get 20. My cheat sheet, I'm calling this. Do we have 20? We don't have 20. Wait a minute. Oh, because I have to click make this update. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's working. The next thing would be to do the leveling up. What's the algorithm? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I did it. Fuck. Now I have to. Shoot. I haven't made a button for this yet. So I still have to find it. So I said, what's the algorithm for that? All right. The algorithm for leveling up is a very classic algorithm. If you're on level 1, you need 1,000. And so I think what I will do is put in game, because there's always the chance that a difficulty setting will change this and require you to get more experience before leveling up. So we're going to say I don't know where constants constants / like add these to difficulty level settings later. We're gonna say private int experience per for level experience required. We'll just say experience required, and we're going to make this a get set and private int. Oh, I should have done it the other way. Experience required equals 1,000. Is a public. All right. So what we need to do is say if is it the experience required. Hold on, okay. I think I just need to think about it and spit it out. Where is my check for level up? All right. So as a example, level 1 to 2 requires 2 equals 1,000 points, but level 2 to 3 equals 2,000 points, and then level 3 to 4 requires 4,000 points, and level 4 to 8 or 4 to 5 equals 8,000 points, and so on. And so this is essentially powers, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, or something like that. 6 combats equals 1 level. New D&D experience table. Ooh, nerds have put this out already for us. Is this the thing? Oh wow. I don't know what that is. Okay. Well, so this is going to be, what's the math here? What's the math? Yep, that is my method. Each level doubles the experience needed, and starting with 1,000. So 1,000. Oops. So just to work it out, 1,000 times 1 equals 1,000. 1,000 times 2 equals 1,000 equals 2,000. But 1,000 times 3 does not. So it is what's the math here? I know there's a math thing. There's a name of this number sequence, I think. Let's see. Let me look it up. Number sequence that doubles every time. Geometric. Ah, here we go. One, 2, 4, 8, 16, blah blah blah. The sequence starts at 1, common ratio of 2. The pattern is continued by multiplying by 2 each time, like this. Okay, but what's the algorithm? What is the algorithm of a geometric? Ah, see the bull. This is why you got that job, because you're smart. That's why. So this is 1,000 times 2 to the power of n. So the power of, say, 4 is 16,000 to get to, so what's the power of 0 is 1,000, the power of 1. So the power of the last level. See the bull? Boom. So that's the algorithm. Last level. Or level minus 1, really. So in Math F, let's see, check for level up, and so we're gonna add some fancy property things here, like public int experience is going to be stats.getExperience dot points. It's an int. Oops. I'm going to call it experience points. And then public. Oh, what's this? I already have it. Oops. Ha ha ha. Okay. I'm going to bring it back up there later, but for now I want to do it all the way down here. Alright, so we got stats, experience points, public, float, points to next level is going to be something, and that's points to next level is public, float, points required for next level, and this is going to be okay. So this is going to return points required for next level minus experience points, right? So if we need 1,000, we have 400, then it's going to give us 600. Okay, and then if this is negative, yeah. So our current level is going to be, so this is going to be game.points point. Didn't we call it point something? I swear we did. Experience required. Experience required times 2. How do you do power f? Dot power math f dot power. What is this? F to the power of p. So 2 to the power of level minus 1. And that should be that. And just make sure level is get level final stat. No, not final stat. We need level points because because your level might go up in through a magic spell or something, and that's where final stat comes into play, and that might change various things that require per level. Of course there's going to be some sound effects or something. Oh, well, actually, no, you're going to have to go to a trainer to level up. Might Magic 6 style. But there should be some vocalization when someone is able to level up. Perhaps like when somebody, when a experience is granted, if nobody said in the past few minutes, then somebody will say, I need to find myself a trainer. Or something like that to indicate to the player, oh, someone just is able to level up now. They'll say something, so just some vocalization. Yeah, so we want level points because the level points determines actually like what your actual level is. Even if a magic spell has doubled your level, that doesn't mean suddenly you need more experience to get to the next level. We're going to base that system on the points. So we need level points. So that way down here at the very bottom of this way too long class, we can say is level points minus 1. And then check for level up. So we're going to say public bool can level up. And this is going to return points to next level is less than 0, less than or equal to 0. If it's less than or equal to 0, then we can level up. So check for level up, return if we can't level up, return otherwise debug.log to do the level up stuff. Actually, it doesn't. Yeah. So you know what? We're not even. Well, I guess we are checking to level up stuff. So I was gonna say we can remove this whole thing, but we are gonna check for level up stuff. For my game, this will probably be just a vocalization. Yeah. And then you actually level up at a trainer. There you go. Yeah, there might be some visual thing as well, and maybe even a chime or something, but enough to let the player know that something has happened. in case they weren't paying attention to that aspect, but not enough. Oh, interesting. You know, now that I think about it, if they already can level up, this will always be doing this thing. So really we want to know what their previous one was. So what we need to know is our start points. Yeah. Because if we were already able to level up, so let's do this. Float, reduce points. So so can level up is that. Public bool can level. So I want to know, I really want to return, if we can level up now but we couldn't before, then I want to do something. But if we could before, then it doesn't matter for this context. So public bool can level up, but this time we'll pass in a float experience points. And this is going to return shoot. How are we going to do that? I feel like I'm missing an obvious. So if we just pass in nothing, then we're going to get the points to the next level up. And so what we really need to know is this. If points required for next level is less than or equal to experience points, then we would return true. So let's change this one to be that. So if points required for next level is less than or equal to our experience points, and then here we will return if this. Okay. So if we can't level up, then we'll return, and if we can level up with experience points or start points, then we'll return. Okay. A note here, return because we already were able to level up. This isn't new because, all right, can't level up. All right, there we go. And then points next level, I'll keep that because I'm going to probably call that in a UI thing somewhere. You might have to track pending levels versus completed levels. Yeah. I think this should work. I think it should work, but you know, we can always change it later. Let me move this all the way up here. I feel like I should refactor this somehow. This is probably too long. I mean, probably. I can't even find where it was that I had my stuff that I removed from earlier. Right here? Okay. All these properties. I use them all. So I suppose that's okay. I don't know. All right, so there we go. So we're adding experience points. We're checking for level up. We're doing that now. We should give a message to do the level up stuff. And that's that. And now it's almost 10 o'clock and I got to go pee. And I think it's about time to call it a stream. And, get it? I have to go pee, call it a stream. Boom. And do the next things later. I actually have some other stuff to do. I'm trying to get some new things made for Infinity PBR, and in order to do that, I'm going to need a new modeler. And so I'm searching for that, and I hate this process, but I have to book someone to try to do something and see if she does a good job, and if she does, then give her more work, and then find an animator and a rigger and stuff like that for more characters and creatures. And I don't want to get people's hopes up. I try to not give ETAs on things because we tend to be slow. Part of it's my fault. And I don't want to get people's hopes up, but I'm thinking of, so this is not guaranteed, so don't quote me, all of you folks out there who like my humanoid stuff, but I'm thinking that there's a better way to do the humans. We did it fine. Nothing wrong with the way we did it, but there's a better way, and it's time perhaps to go back and do it that way, where instead of male and female of each race, so as you know, we have elves, half orcs, and humans, but we also have goblins, and the goblins are not compatible with the rest. Instead of doing it that way, which makes it extremely expensive to add new wardrobe, extremely expensive to add new characters, like a dwarf character, instead of doing it like that, having one humanoid body, male or female, so two humanoid bodies really, and cutting that body up into various parts. So the hands, the feet, the legs, perhaps even two sections of the legs, the torso, the chest, the arms, the shoulders, cut those up, and of course cut up the head as well, so that if I wanted it to be a human, I would have a human head, human hands, human feet. If I wanted to be a goblin, I would just throw on a goblin head, goblin hands, goblin feet, and change the texture and change the blend shapes. We got those blend shapes, and those blend shapes, you know, if I compare this to a human, the shape isn't that vastly different. There is some differences, but you can get this shape, generally speaking, from the human. And so if we did it that way, then the vast majority of armor would only have to be rigged once. The only time it wouldn't would be if it has something to do with the head. If it has something to do with the head, then we can add a special blend shape that only matters for the head or something. And then we would throw on, so the heads would probably come down to, you know, here or something, or maybe they'd come down to here, and so all of our wardrobe would just have to be formed so that it covers this gap wherever the line would be, so that you then could say, okay, I'm going to include the arms, I'm going to include the head, but I'm going to cut off the torso, cut off the midriff, cut off the hips, cut off the thighs, cut off the oh no, don't cut off the calves. So cut off the thighs, but not the calves and not the feet. And now you have a goblin which doesn't have to worry at all about clipping. We would still do the blend shape matching because you'd be changing the shape on the body. But if there were clipping, the solution would be like a little. Every once in a while, there's a little clipping. I don't know if there is right now, but every once in a while, there's a little clipping right there. And in those cases, the solution is just turn it off. Turn off the chest. You don't even need the chest. It's not visible. And what that would basically enable is then we could have any number of races. All the faces can have mesh morphing. We always like that. We're always going to do that. But it also means we can have different faces. We can have multiple human faces, more variety of human faces, and more variety in a high quality that doesn't require mesh morphing. Mesh morphing is great for adding variations and making changes, but it is not a complete overhaul. Even, you know, when you look at metahumans from Unreal, they don't have blend shapes on one face that changes to all those faces. They start with multiple faces and have the same blend shapes on all of those faces. That's what we need to do. We already do that for the most part with our humanoid types. Yeah. Helmets are more difficult. Shapes like this, the head like this, is going to have a shape that just hides the ears altogether so that you can use the same helmet and just not worry about it. But it's going to be extra difficult because of the nose and stuff. So we'll have to work on that. That's going to be some considerations that we'll have to work on. But you know, we have one style of goblin right now, and this is a goblin. But goblins can be lots of different looks, right? There doesn't have to be one style of goblin. Lots of places that have goblins have all sorts of different goblins. Yeah. So I'm just early investigating this. I am looking for a modeler who is good and able to create this base. Katie would be doing the blend shapes because she knows that system like the back of her hand, I believe. She's been doing it long enough. But I do want somebody who will be able to quickly get the model up and maybe some faces and convert our faces over that we have now in some way, shape, or form, and then standardize the mesh in such a way and get it really set up for the blend shapes. Because when we first made the humans, we didn't really set them up for blend shapes because we weren't doing the blend shapes at that time. But when we started doing the blend shapes, you know, blend shapes do require more faces. It requires a slightly higher polygon count because you're shifting those polygons, and if there aren't enough, then you can't really shift them. So as an example, I'm going to copy this so that we don't have to worry about just deleting it. So if I take this goblin fighter and I remove the armor, and apparently that removes everything. If I remove the clothing here, turn everything on, turn everything off. Okay, so we got the armor, the arms here, and the arms are, you know, what they are. But if I select her and I go to her blend shapes, wherever they are, where are her blend shapes? Blend shapes manager. And we look at the female, the male. So the arm muscles go up and down. So you can see the arm muscles going up and down, but it would be cooler if only the muscles, because somewhere there might be arm size. I don't know if it doesn't look like there's arm size on this, but if only the muscles went up, and that requires the faces on their more polygon count. And let's see, where's the wireframe? Shaded wireframe. Yeah. So as you can see here, there are, you know, if I want just the biceps going up, you might be able to do it actually, but it'll be a little bit more difficult. So the more faces, if we can make this a little bit more dense, then we can make a more, muscular. So that's an interesting question, Jack, because I'm also at the same time, there is somebody who is working on, I think, getting the humanoids to work with Unreal. And this would, of course, defeat that purpose. But I still want that because it's needed now. The question will be, do I make an upgrade or is it a free upgrade, right? In this case, it's a brand new thing. It's very expensive. Most likely, this will cost $15,000 to get made. Probably closer to $20,000, I think, when it comes to all the faces and other things that I would need to get made, and all the back and forth and all the fact that I can't just it has to be somebody who knows what they're doing, and they cost more money. So probably $15,000. And so the question is, do I make an upgrade cost or not? And I don't know. In my head, I think that a reasonable upgrade cost, not an expensive one, but one might be in order. I don't know. Like maybe what I would do is, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. It depends. I also think this would be, if I do it right, then it should be a system that can be used by anyone, a system that can be used by any other asset store publisher. You'll do it for a case of beer, huh? Do you do modeling, the Bull? Because if you do, you should message me, because I am looking for modelers, and I like you. You seem nice, so I'd pay you more than a case of a beer. I'd pay you money, and you can buy the beer if you want, but don't buy too much, otherwise you're an alcoholic. But I think, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I want other publishers to be using my systems. You know what I mean? Like, I make all these systems, and it's great that they work for my stuff, but I always get very frustrated that they don't work for other publisher stuff. And I want other publishers to succeed. And I like the idea that they would be like, oh, we use Infinity PBR system for this. I'm not afraid of competition per se. I'm afraid of competition that does things poorly but markets themselves better, if that makes sense. I wish I had the talent too. But yeah, so that's where I'm thinking with that. So anyways, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to then go online and check my messages from the people I emailed yesterday and see what they've replied with. I know some of them already replied, no, they can't do what I wanted them to do. Hair shader. It's another thing. I just need a hair shader. I spent $250 on a dude on Fiverr. Lost it because he couldn't do it. He said he could do it. Delivered stuff. Fiverr completes things within 72 hours if you don't do anything. It was the weekend. I didn't do anything. Completed the order. Went back and forth with the guy. Now it's just dead in the water. So lost that money. That sucks. Fiverr is like hit or miss, big time, more miss than hit. So we'll see. Yeah, and go from there, because I really want dwarves too. This game is supposed to have dwarves, right? But it doesn't yet. Yes, thank you for the company, everybody. Thanks for watching. There's 70 of you left. Please don't forget to give a thumbs up and a like and a subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I actually have tomorrow off of work. I've got an appointment in the morning to go to, and after that, I'm free. So, I'm going to stream tomorrow during the daytime, maybe at nighttime too, having dinner with the family. But after that, you never know. And before that, for sure, I think daytime. Maybe I'll do a noon Pacific time stream or something. We'll see. Anyways, we'll play it by ear. Oh, I also have new environment stuff to check from one of my modelers who for this tower environment we're working on. Very exciting there. Anyways, lots of good stuff. We'll see what we finish. And thanks for hanging out, and I will see you another time.